Hey y'all, how's it going? I'm ChosenEyes. Nice to meet you all. I'm a professional psychic medium who also happens to be a doctor who is having a hard time speaking today. And my mission is to train the next generation of unlikely healers. One of the ways that I do that is through tarot education, medical astrology, and scrying. So utilizing anything that bends light and has a reflection in order to divine and intuit past, present, and future, and a bunch of other things in between. But if you're interested in any of my services, by all means, please click the description below. Like, share, subscribe, do all those beautiful things. If you enjoy this video and my content, that mean the world to me. And I wanted to offer, was in the middle of writing something actually, and I felt pulled to do a few pulls for y'all, so I hope y'all are cool with that. While I was shuffling actually and about to press play for this video, the wheel of fortune popped out. Ooh, can you see it? There you go, it's a little fuzzy. But in addition to that, we also have one of my favorite cards in this deck, the moon. And we're going to place that here on the right side. And now we've got, actually it came out inverted, the Queen of Emotions, which is the Queen of Cups in this particular deck. In particular, I feel like this is speaking to my Cancerian love bugs, but this is also a general reading. With that, I will say, Cancer, this, for whatever reason, is ringing loud and true for you all. So lean in if you have any Cancerian placement. This is a beautiful period for you all to really sit back and ask yourself, or ask yourselves, why you have allowed yourself to be manipulated emotionally, and what are you willing to do to take back your personal power in the situation. I'm speaking to, oh, 1 second, y'all. My apologies, Austin allergies. I'm speaking to someone who is navigating emotionally being sustained off of half-truths in relationship dynamics, namely romantic relationships. And then because of the nature of the romance, it's either life partnership, traditional marriage, but then it bleeds over into familial dynamics. So because you're choosing to live off of these crumbs, right, of whatever emotional kibble is being thrown your way, and I'm saying kibble intentionally because Spirit is leading me to tell you, like, you're being treated like a dog. Like, you're getting dogged out in this relationship emotionally. And there's no other way to, like, really say it. This is really, it's like, it's the way in which someone may cater. See, I'm having a hard time getting this out, and I really feel like it speaks to, like, just how disillusioned and disoriented you are in this relationship, whoever I'm channeling this for. It's the way in which someone may sprinkle some, leave some food out for a stray dog or like a stray cat. Like, there's like the neighborhood cat or like the neighborhood stray dog that everybody kind of like takes pity on and like sprinkle some food out and maybe leaves out a bowl of water in the summer because they don't want it to, dehydrate. Like, that's what I get from this. Like, you're being treated like that. 10 of Cups, right? And it's, 10 of Wands actually. Which you're literally carrying the burdens and the sins of everybody in this dynamic, and you're looking for this person to treat you better than what they are capable of. I will also say you have allowed this to go on for quite some time, so they don't see a point in straightening up. So it's your job to decide how you're going to actually take back your personal power. I will also say, if you are the person who has been doing this, because I do feel like the inverse is also correct in this situation, it is time for you to reorder your missteps and allow someone to have their autonomy. Because a lot of this goes back to tethering karmic ties and siphoning off life force energy. All right, this is very much a misery loves company type dynamic, and you got to decide at what point you are willing to stop being miserable. And for the person who is being treated or dogged out in such a manner, you have to ask yourself, at what point do you snatch back your own autonomy and personal agency? The time has come for this dynamic to dissolve, to be no more. There's nothing left to give on either side. And if I'm going to be honest, there's nothing left to take. Like, I'm literally looking at something that looks like very desolate, powdery ground. Like, it's like dehydrated meat. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen, like, the dehydrated food rations, like the MREs, right? You add a little bit of water to it, and it starts to, like, look like food-ish or, like, some type of food product. I don't know if any of y'all have ever seen that. I have. I know my military folks have definitely seen those things, right? Add a little bit of water. Like, yeah. That's what, like, that is your foundation. You can try to sprinkle some water on it, but it's just powdery, and then it'll just turn to like clumpy clay, and it won't even really stick together. So how are you expecting to stick together? I don't really see where there's a outcome here that works very well in either of y'all's favor if you try to stick it out. And this is, if this isn't even just a romantic relationship, even in a friendship dynamic, the Hierophant and the Hermit, y'all gotta take the time apart. Somebody has already checked out emotionally in this dynamic. I'm going to say that divorce or legal separation is in order here for the safety and the sanity of both people involved. The person who is the taker in this situation needs to sit down, reassess, refresh, and gain a new sense of clarity about what it means to actually be in a group or in a, I don't want to just say couple, right? But like to be, what it means to have to share time and space with other beings outside of just being about you. Because I feel that you may not recognize how much you have been catered to. For the other person in the dynamic, you may not realize how much you have grown accustomed to being treated like that, and how much you have actually grown addicted to two things. One, the need of being needed, and the need to be the martyr. Because both can be addictive. Because if I were to introduce peace, or Cosmos, or anybody were to offer you peace right now, you wouldn't know what to do with it. You would find a way to create disorder and chaos in order to go back to a norm that you are accustomed to, no matter how toxic it has been. And I say that from a place of compassion and love. We've all gone through a dynamic that has been similar to this. I know I personally have multiple times. So I'm also speaking to you on the other side of things and letting you know you got to take a separation period in order to reintegrate you into you. The old version of you that had to get along for the get along because you didn't know any better now gets to evolve into the version of you that is starting to garner tools and will know better, and therefore hopefully will do better. If you should choose, I'll choose 2 more cards for this. If you all should choose to come back together, let's see what that looks like. Actually, I wasn't done. I thought 2 was enough, and Spirit was like, oh, oopsie. Well, there we go. Oh, pull 2 more. Okay, and 2 more flew out. The first 2 that came out were the Ace of Inspiration and the Fool inverted. So Ace of Wands, essentially, and the Fool inverted. And then we have the 4 of Voices, which is the 4 of Swords. inverted with the star. Ooh, we got some Aquarian energy in here because of the star. The Fool is Aries and Aquarius. Aries and Aquarius as well. So just putting that out there too, if y'all are interested. The Hermit here, we're also looking at some Virgo energy. I also throw Sagittarius in there because Sagittarians are always like on a philosophical journey too, but it's more so Virgo energy. I feel like if you all chose to come back together, I don't feel like it would be it could be a good thing. It would not be the worst thing. But I feel like the taker in this situation has got to be a person who is willing to handle new boundaries. And to realize they will no longer be the center of this person's... Like, this person's not going to be as available to you as they once were. Like, with the Fool inverted right there, this is not a person who's going to drop everything for you. This is not a person who's going to drop everything at the drop of a dime because you text them or because you called them or because you said that you needed them. Like, this is a person who's going to start prioritizing themselves and the things that matter to them and that they value deeply. And then they will see where you fit in, as opposed to, I've got this thing happening over here, but because I love you and care about you so much. And a lot of it is because they're accustomed to things being lopsided, and now they've had a taste of what it means to actually be a priority and not an option. They're not going backwards. And if this, especially if we're talking about Aquarian energy, then I'm feeling very strongly through this. One thing about Aquarian energy, if you screw it over, Aquarians treat people well. Everybody gives Aquarians a bum rap. And I will throw in Aries too because I got the Fool here. Like I said, Aquarius and Aries, if they're for you, they are for you. They will move heaven and earth for you. They will drop what they need. They are incredibly generous. Forget hopping on the next thing smoking. They are the next thing smoking if they are for you. But the minute that you screw them over, that's a wrap. They don't move backwards. And if they choose to try to reintegrate you into their life, it will never be like it once was. So, I know I started off by saying I felt very strongly about Cancerian energy around this, but Cancer, if you are the perpetrator of this and you dealing with an Aquarius or an Aries in this, cut it out. I'm just telling you now, okay? With the star and the Four of Voices inverted over here, it lets me know that this person is not waiting on you to get it right. This person is moving on to grow. This person is moving on to greener and better pastures within themselves. Because at this point, it's not even about you or anybody else. It's about them wanting what's right for them and being healthier and happier and stronger. As it pertains to the opposite person, this is an opportunity for you to start seeing that you are deserving of not an idealized Disney-esque or Disneyized, I know it's not a word, but Disneyized version of what it means to be loved. This is, what does love look like on your terms? Because I also feel like in this dynamic, love was forced upon you in a way that was unhealthy for you. So, an example of this. Maybe you're not a person who's very comfortable with a lot of gifts or being showered with a lot of things, right? You don't really care about things. Your love language is more so acts of service or physical touch. So you were deprived of that, but you were being forced to engage in a love currency that was not really for you. Now you get the opportunity to start loving on yourself in a way that makes more sense to you, right? So maybe you're more of a person who, and I appreciate the love languages for what they are in terms of giving people a template, but there's so much fluidity between that. Like, no one is just one thing, right? So maybe a display of love for you is somebody giving you an hour of silence to just an hour to yourself to just be somewhere that's silent and desensitized. No TV on, no nothing. You got a cup of tea and you're enjoying the silence. You just want some peace and quiet, just to watch the trees blow out through your window. But you didn't get that. Now you get to give that to yourself. Maybe a way that you show love to yourself is to allow yourself to be in a space where you get to go out dancing, or you get to, I don't know why this is coming through so quickly, but I'm just going to go with it. Maybe this is a time for you to change your wardrobe because you were wearing clothing that you didn't like or that wasn't very appealing or comfortable for you. So now you get to put some material on your skin that feels good, that on a sensory level makes you feel safe. And safety is something else that's coming up very strongly in this dynamic, okay? Emotional safety, physical safety, all the things, but namely emotional and sensory oriented safety, right? So maybe you had somebody who wanted you to dress up like a dime all the time, right? Well, there's nothing wrong with that for the bedroom or however you choose to live your life, right? If you're into that. But if you're a person who's only doing that to placate to the sensibilities of your significant other, ew, right? So maybe now you're realizing you're more of a jeans and t-shirt individual. Maybe you just like cotton. Maybe you like things that are soft. You don't want things that are so confining and restrictive. Maybe you're a person who likes to wear silk and satin more often, who likes more breathable fabrics like linens and things like that, right? Maybe you're a person who prefers something that's more cozy. Maybe you like feeling swaddled, so you like hoodies, you like sweaters, whatever that may be. But wardrobe seems to be a big thing too. Maybe you're wanting to chop off your hair or let your hair grow because it's the way that you envision yourself in your mind, and you give yourself the freedom to not have to envision yourself the way that your spouse or significant other is going to want you to show up for them. So, recap really quickly. This is a beautiful period for growth on both sides. If you choose to come back together, it could work, but you're going to have to deal with a lot of new boundaries. Let's see what happens if y'all choose to go ahead and go your separate ways and henceforth forever into the universe never speak to each other again. Okay. Is that even an option? That's too many cards, y'all. What happens if they choose to part? There we go. Apologies, I just dropped one. So the first card that flew out was the World Cosmos inverted. The next one that flew out was Awakening. And then Three of Cups inverted. The way I'm reading this is, and what I'm intuiting is, there's always going to be that nagging sense of what if. What if we would have tried again? There's this Babyface song. What if we were wrong about each other? What if you were really made for me? Right? Like, there's this pervasive sense of what if. That being said, I do feel like one of you would eventually, because of Awakening being where it is, one of you would eventually be able to get over it. It may nag you, but you'd be like, yeah, shoulda, coulda, woulda, but I'm going to move on with my life. And then the other person is going to feel like there's going to be this tug. Right? And if I'm going to be completely honest, in some cases, I don't feel like that's really in the cards for you all not to get back together. I feel like there's too much of a karmic pull for you all to completely excommunicate one another. I do feel like communication will die down drastically. I don't know that you could be friends or be in a romantic relationship in the way that you once were. That definitely can't happen. I see less communication. I see periodical check-ins. But there's something about this that really just is not healthy. Like, there's something like with the way that these cards are, especially the way that I'm looking at Awakening and the Hermit and the Hierophant, like everything is about enlightenment and like moving toward enlightenment and illumination. Like there's just too much that you unlearn and unpack. And it's not about the two of you coming back to, or anybody in this dynamic coming back together and falling back into old, like repeating old patterns intentionally. But it's almost like you don't know what to do with one another now that you're in two different spaces. Now that you've grown, assuming that both parties do the work. Now that you've grown and you've moved beyond that, like where do we fit in to one another's lives? How do we navigate this? How can we truly be in each other's lives and be of support and be healthy for one another if this is the thing? I'm going to pull one more card for clarification. Oh, that was quick. Never mind, it's 3 cards. Empress. Ace of Materials inverted. And Justice inverted. Yeah. I'm just going to say it. I feel like one person is going to expect this to, like, there's going to be a desire to create a new beginning, but one person is going to want it to go back to the way that it was. Because they're not going to like the unfamiliarity of the new. And if I'm honest, it's the Cancerian energy that wants it to go back to the way that it used to be. The other energies involved in this are kind of the ones who are just like, this is not healthy for me. It's not healthy for either of us, but for whatever reason, the Cancerian energy just feels like they just want to give up or like give into the impulse of just like, they don't want to fight the path of least resistance. So if you find that there's a trauma bond between you and anybody that you're navigating or going through this type of a dynamic with right now, you have to choose yourself. And whether the other party recognizes it or not, you're actually doing them a favor right now, because you're asking them to grow beyond the tortures of this. So I hope that helped. Oh, one more card. Hold on. I'm gonna pull a Moon Oracle card. Full Moon. Forgiveness. Forgive yourself. Forgiveness is for yourself. They always tell you that, right? But forgiveness of self for not having known any better, for not for having allowed yourself to enter into such a dynamic. It's really easy to say, oh my goodness, I'm smarter than this. How did I get caught up in this? It doesn't happen to me. This happens to other people. If I were watching a movie about this, I'd be like, girl, you stupid, or dude, you stupid, or what's wrong with you? How you get caught up in that? Like, don't do that. It's a slippery slope. And when we talk about matters of the heart, when you love someone or when you love something, right? If this is talking about an event in your life and not necessarily a person, when you love someone or something, you want to go into it full force and all in. So don't judge yourself. Forgive the tapestry in the situation that created what was. That way you can allow yourself to incorporate the wisdom that you've gotten from those memories and from that lived experience, but not allow it to fuel who you are becoming. And that takes some work, because it involves really getting rid of your, like, deconstructing aspects of your ego. With that, forgiveness is going to be key in terms of how healthy both parties move forward and or move on. Or all parties move forward and move on with this dynamic. All right. I hope that was helpful. Thanks for entrusting me with y'all spirits. Remember, I'm ChosenEyes. Like, share, subscribe, do all the things if you enjoyed this video. I appreciate y'all. Keep your gazes forward.